What up, family? It's your boy Amadu back with another review, and this time I am doing a spoiler review for Queen and Slim. Now, if you haven't seen the movie, click on the link for the written review below. I do a spoiler-free written review. It's down there. It takes me a long time to write these things, so please go read what I write as well, because I also write. But for this one, I've warned you, there's spoilers in this. Let's just get down into it. This movie is a must-see movie. Whether you like it, whether you agree with all the decisions, whether you don't agree with decisions, it is a powerful, beautiful movie that you need to go see, if only for how magnificent this movie is shot. Director Melina Matsoukas, she uses really wide-ranging shots to capture the deep, rich colors of the South, and the cinematography gets you intimately into every scene. And then it's backdropped by an absolutely amazing score and soundtrack. When Still Tippin' came on, I just felt my blackness growing, and this movie is a black movie. The way we talk, the way we act, the way we're not Hollywood's version of it. It's my neighbors. You can't hear them. I can hear them right now. There's a spades game going on or something. That's how black it is in this movie. All aspects of black too. The highfalutin and bougie to the, you want to call them ratchet, whatever it is, all aspects of blackness are in this movie. And that takes us to our main duo, Queen and Slim, played by Jodie Turner-Smith and Daniel Kaluuya, where we start the movie in the worst Tinder date ever. The movie starts off immediately on their date, and it is so uncomfortable that I didn't like the first 30 minutes of this movie. I didn't like the characters. I didn't like their chemistry. There was little to none. Queen is what you would call a angry black woman. Lawyer who just has RBF, which she has the perfect right to do so, but continuously just seems to have an air of being better than someone. And she only went out with Slim 3 weeks after the match because she didn't want to be alone. Legit reason to not be alone. Her client was getting executed. And then there was Slim, who is so optimistic, rooted in faith, and bright side of life that everything about him just seemed annoying. Like the most naive dude you could find. Kind of seemed like she just pity dated him. You would think with those opposing personalities, they would mesh. No, not at all. Curt conversation, 3 words at a time. He was trying to make fun to make her laugh, and it wasn't working. And you could tell, they even said there wouldn't have been a second date until shit popped off. And then shit popped off. And that takes us to the inciting incident of this film. The police pull them over, and I just kept having questions of why. Why'd you get out the car? Why'd you let him open the trunk? Why'd you let him look through the shoe boxes? Dude, don't do none of that. And then when you kill the guy in self-defense, Queen, who's a lawyer, makes the decision to run? You said you were a badass lawyer, but you'd rather run and become fugitives than try to defend yourself. It didn't make sense to me. But they did it, and they were on their way. And then we met other side characters who just were the most stereotypical black people I've ever seen. The loudmouth little boy with the father calling him a pussy, basically, and saying he has bitches, and then moving on from there to Uncle Earl, played by Bokeem Woodbine, who is a procurer of money through business. He's a pimp. He's a pimp. And I was just sitting there like, come on, give me something better. And then it did. Queen is getting her leg wrapped up after she gets shot by one of Uncle Earl's ladies, Goddess. And Queen asks Goddess, what makes you happy? And in my mind, I'm like, she's going to say money and clothes and the extravagances of life. And she says something that went right here and made me feel like shit for thinking what I was thinking those first 30 minutes. She says, when your uncle kisses me on the forehead. Something so small and so sweet and so heartfelt and endearing made me remember the biases I have about the loudmouth little kid and about his dad and about Uncle Earl and how you cannot judge people. There is so much more, and it's those small little things that Lena Waithe included into the film that ends up little by little unraveling all of the pieces and layers of Queen and of Slim and why they made the decision to run. And you start remembering, hey, people are deeper than their appearances. People are deeper than what they look like. And it continues to prove that as the movie goes on. The subtleties that Bokeem Woodbine puts into his character shows you that what you thought of him at the beginning is only the surface. He doesn't get many words after they leave his place, but the looks he gives and the emotions he brings in just his facial expressions show how much love he has for Queen and how much trauma he went through, because he's a war vet and that PTSD is digging into him. And that makes you understand the scene where he fights with one of his other ladies and you see where it comes from. And that layer then brings about a layer we see of Queen that starts to unravel her story and why she has this hard exterior and how if you lived her life, you wouldn't survive. Her first case was against the murderer of her mother, and that man was her uncle. And she defended him and got him acquitted. And you understand why she has the tough exterior she does. And it makes it all that much more beautiful when the journey that shows how her and Slim begin to love each other, how it chips away at that tough exterior to create a Oscar-like statuesque vulnerability that shows that this movie is a love story underneath everything. It is a love story. Yes, a love story built out of trauma, but a love story nonetheless. But isn't that what love is? Two people are brought together by something, and then they choose to grow and to care for and to love one another. It's that choice. The choice to become better as a unit, no matter the circumstances which they started with. And that's how this love story plays out. The balance and chemistry that wasn't there at the beginning of the film is absolutely scorching throughout the rest of the runtime. Jodie Turner-Smith and Daniel Kaluuya are absolutely amazing as these two characters. And it is beautiful to see them peel back each other's layers and learn their history and end up in the place they end up, wanting to be each other's legacy and wanting to always be the person to hold the other's hand. You could feel the love they had for each other in that iconic shot at the mechanic shop. And you could definitely feel the love they had for each other in that sex scene, because that was one of the most intense, well, damn, sex scenes I have seen. And it was beautiful because it was two black people, two dark-skinned black people, just absolutely loving and caring for one another. Forget what they got going on right then. The most important people were those two in the car, and it was a beautiful thing to see. A lot of Lena Waithe's script is very beautiful, but a lot of it is also questionable as hell. But no matter what, all the decisions she makes is extremely powerful. She recently had an interview that said that the guy that turns him in at the end was originally white. And I am so glad she made that switch, because I knew when they were walking up to that plane, they were done for. They had the background all blurry and I was like, cops about to show. And as the cops were pulling up, the whole time I was like, who's the dude in the plane? How did they turn him in? And then I saw my mans with the gold grill counting his money, and I was like, oh damn, okay. And then it made me think, what would I do in that situation? $500,000 so I can be set versus helping people that technically committed crimes, but crimes in self-defense because of the bullshit that keeps happening to us. and you're balancing your self-preservation to backing the community, and it's like, should he have turned them in? Hell no. But was he wrong in protecting himself? Still hell no. But the fact that I'm questioning it is just makes me think, yes, so glad she switched that, because not 30 minutes earlier, a cop let the two of them leave the garage, and it was a black cop facing the exact same position. Self-preservation at his job versus letting two fugitives go because deep down morally, he believes that's the right thing to do, even though he can get fired. And it just shows that atrocities like the killing of unarmed black people leave behind murky and gray and messy consequences that are nowhere near as black and white as the original thing that happened itself. And it just leaves people wondering what to do. And nowhere is that seen more than in the protest scene with Junior. I still cannot wrap my head around that protest scene because there is so much that goes into it. The systematic oppression of a people over years and years and years can make somebody feel so downtrodden and unseen that Junior said it. He just wants somebody to know that he was here. And he feels so beaten down by the system that he will let his immortality overshadow his own life and the life of somebody else. And in this situation, the life of a black cop who, again, is just doing his job and trying his best to go up to him and say, look, man, I don't want to arrest you, but I'm going to because this is my job and I got to do what I got to do. So please go home. And when he pulls out the gun and he shoots the man, not only does he ruin his own life, but he ruins the life of so many other people just in the name of being remembered. And you're like, is the oppression you feel that bad that you come to that decision? And for me, I ultimately said, no, this is not believable. This does not seem to make sense to me. And then it makes me think back to the iconic picture and how it just begins to be commodified. It's on shirts and on buildings. And yes, it's a symbol of fighting against an unjust system. But when is it too much? When are we idolizing people to a point that the underlying message is not remembered? It's just the fact that we get this cool ass photo, and it's the fact that my life and other people's lives are not as important as me being seen. And this entire protest scene is just so much from both sides. And what ultimately made me decide that this scene might have been too unnecessary is that if you took it out of the movie wouldn't have changed that much. But it was still an extremely powerful scene that brought up a whole bunch of emotions. And that's what Queen and Slim does. It brings up a lot of emotions and a lot of power, while at the same time bringing a lot of positivity through this really beautiful love story, bringing something positive out of trauma and negativity. And let me talk to these people who are attacking Lena Waithe and Melina Matsoukas for what they say is too much black trauma on screen. I get it. I'm done with slave movies for that reason. Yes, he got shot up like Lonzo from Training Day, but that is the reality that Lena Waithe saw in this country, and that is what she felt in her heart needed to be on screen. But you cannot attack people for creating what they feel in their heart and putting their messages on paper because it is their art. Art is art. Blame Hollywood. Blame the people who are not making movies showing black people doing regular day-to-day things. Photograph, I Can't Wait for You. That looks amazing. Bad Boys 3 as well. But for those of you who want to tell people like Lena Waithe that they shouldn't make movies because there's too much Black trauma on screen, get the fuck out of here. Get all the way the fuck out of here. You cannot tell people what to write. You cannot tell people what to make. This movie is, I cannot use any other words than the words I've been saying over and over. It is beautiful and powerful. So for those of you coming after Lena and Melina and everybody for making this movie, you can go, in the famous words of my man Mero,
suck my dick from the back.
That was my Queen and Slim spoiler review. I'm sorry I ranted so much, but this was a lot. Tell me what you think in the comment sections below. Again, please read my written review in the link below. Like this video, share it with your friends, hit me up, start having discussions with me. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you agree with me on any of the things that I questioned, on any of the things I thought were great, on the whole conversation of Black trauma in movies. Any movies you're looking forward to that don't have trauma in them, please let me know. That's it, y'all. I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.